So 2015 was a momentous year. We've heard about this already. An absolutely momentous year. The international community joined together to agree a set of universal goals for global sustainable development. The wide-ranging global goals set far-reaching targets to deliver what was called at the time the world we want by 2030. Goal 2 is particularly ambitious: to end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. This requires a food system that can deliver the right food to all people while safeguarding and curating the future of the planet. That's quite a big task. So, how are we doing? How is the food system doing in delivering this goal? It's not looking hugely rosy. Currently, 160 million children are stunted. That means they're far shorter than they should be for their age. 50 million children are wasted. It means incredibly thin. It's estimated that somewhere in the region of 3 million children under the age of 5 die every year as a result of undernutrition. And the paradox is that whilst we have those figures on underweight and stunted children, wasted and stunted children, we also have 40 million children on the planet who are overweight or obese. To go on, we have 2 billion people on the planet who are suffering from a micronutrient deficiency, and we have approximately 1 billion people who don't have sufficient calories, dietary energy on a daily basis. And the paradox again, 2 billion adults who are overweight or obese on the planet. So the food system is currently not working. It's not delivering its goal. But the food system is also extremely sensitive. This is a graph showing the number of undernourished people on the planet, sort of fluctuating around 800 or 900 million, until a spike in 2009. What was that spike? That spike was caused by significant rises in the price of food, caused because of a poor summer, a poor harvest, and also speculation on the markets. But a significant spike in the price of foods. And it's estimated that that led to 100 million more people becoming undernourished. But that also led to riots. Riots in 22 countries. So this isn't just about food, this isn't just about nutrition, it's also about global governance and it's about equity. These are very big issues. Agriculture plays a critical role in many countries, especially in those in low and middle income countries, where it's estimated that 2.5 billion people live in smallholder farming households. Agriculture in those communities especially provide up to 60% of employment. Agriculture provides up to 30% of national domestic product, especially in poor countries. And of course, farmers are the people who look after the environment, they look after the landscape for us, they are the custodians. But the agriculture system and the wider food systems are under huge pressure. Depending on how well you want to sleep at night, the global temperature will rise 2, 4, 6 or 8 degrees by 2100. These are vast increases in temperature. Often those rises will be most severe in the lowest in the low latitude countries, so low and middle income countries. We also have significant changes estimated, these are modelled estimates of the availability of water. This is precipitation. A move away from rain in the low latitudes and low and middle income countries towards the upper latitudes. And there are other changes. Some of these are other environmental changes. Some of these are going to be positive, the so-called CO2 fertilization. As there's more carbon dioxide in the air, so plants that need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis grow faster, and the yields are bigger. But there are likely to be many negative changes as well. And those pressures are going to be changing in ozone level, increased likelihood of extreme weather events, changes in the pests and pathogens that attack agricultural products, changes in the numbers of pollinators, biodiversity loss, land degradation, many different things. The models that do exist suggest that the future is going to be quite difficult. There's going to be a significant, the impacts of raised temperatures are going to have a significant impact on agricultural yields, especially again in poor countries. In fact, northern latitude countries, us, the Canadians and others in Russia, are going to do particularly well. But how is this food going to be traded? At what cost is this food going to be traded? How are those trade deals going to be struck? An important topic at the moment. And while CO2 fertilization might give a boon to yields, the estimates are that the models suggest that plants grown in higher CO2 environments have poorer nutrient content, and especially for things like zinc and iron, which are critical for growth, especially in children. And what about those pollinators I talked about before? If we lose our pollinators, so what do pollinators do? Pollinators pollinate, obviously, most of the fruits and vegetables we eat, including coffee and chocolate. Important. And the impacts on health of a complete loss of pollinators may be extreme. The estimates from a recent analysis suggest that in rich countries, those declining amounts of fruits and vegetables may lead to an increase of those diseases caused by poor diets, such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and some certain forms of cancer. Whereas in the poorer countries, of course, this could just lead to shortages of foods and therefore increased amounts of undernutrition. And at the same time that we have all these multiple environmental changes, the world is changing too. We are changing. The population is growing to 9 billion by 2050. There are more and more of us. We're also living longer. And we're moving to cities. By 2050, 70 or 80% of people will be living in cities. And people who live in cities eat different foods. And there's going to be a significant, we're already seeing it, a significant move away from largely vegetable-based diets to those with increasing amounts of animal-sourced foods. I was in Delhi last December, and these two meals both cost about £1. An entirely vegetarian thali, mixed vegetarian curries, or a something burger. Which one would you choose? And what factors do you think drive these choices amongst different people? So is this the future? Indeed, what is the future? If we think about the 4 pillars of food security, the 4 pillars of food security are availability, access, stability, and utilization. So we've talked, the availability of food is likely to change. The price, and therefore people's access to food, is likely to change. We've seen the consequences of sudden changes in the stability of the availability of foods. And the content of food is also likely to change into the future. So from where I'm standing, the future is extremely uncertain. And we need to think positively about solutions. So what are those solutions? Is this the solution? Do we need to seek radical technical solutions, such as this cultured meat burger, first consumed in 2013? Do we need to think about improving the way we do our agriculture? Drip irrigation instead of random irrigation, vertical agriculture using less land, or new varieties of crops that are able to withstand changes in environment, such as this is an example of scuba rice. Scuba rice is a rice that can be submerged, fully submerged, once more or less fully grown for 2 to 3 weeks and not lose its yield. Or do we need to think about identifying varieties of crops that have better nutrient content? So this is a sweet potato with enhanced amounts of beta-carotene, which is a precursor of vitamin A. Or do we need to look to ourselves and think about our behaviour and how our behaviour is shaping the food system and therefore shaping the ability of the food system to deliver healthy and nutritious foods for 2030? So finally, if I may, I'll return to my jester role, my Shakespearean jester role. Dear Jonathan, do not forget the many things I have told, and we will watch with excitement as tonight's dramas unfold.